Hey everybody, what's going on? John here, doing a quick investor series video here. I am constantly on the hunt for what some of the experts out there, what they're saying, what they feel about Bitcoin. I love to listen to what Warren Buffett has to say. But there's another expert out there that I kind of started following and identified back in 2012 because what happened is he picked up shares of Netflix at the same time that I did for roughly about $58 a share at the time, literally same time, quarter three 2012. I was picking up Netflix shares actually before that, even in 2011, but really increased my exposure to about 25% of my portfolio back in 2012. And he is Carl Icahn. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you quite a bit of detail about his Netflix history and his Netflix shares in this video, but I want to play a clip real quick on Carl Icahn in terms of his, relatively recent, a few months ago, what he said about Bitcoin, okay? And take note that Carl Icahn is basically, his history with respect to investing. I mean, at this point, he's 84 years old, certainly a very, very tough guy from Queens, but he has been through 7 bear markets, and he's definitely learned some of his lessons living through and becoming a multi-billionaire investor and activist investor through 7 bear markets. Here we go.
I do understand this slightly. I think it's ridiculous. So, and I don't say I don't like the market. I think there's stocks that are cheap, and you can buy them. They're badly managed, or they have some other hidden jewel. I like to say that you look for companies that got a certain hidden jewel, a certain way you can burnish that jewel. And I like doing that, and I think there's great values around in the market today. But I think that the market itself is way over leveraged. I mean, it's maybe hard to explain what I'm saying. The market itself is way over leveraged, and you got just too much money flowing into it in these index funds to begin with, and much worse than that, these ETFs. Basically, it's a little bit like '08, where everybody was buying mortgage-backed securities, which were crazy. But I don't like the cryptocurrencies only because maybe because I don't understand them, but when you talk about the blockchain and you talk about them, but I don't understand how you could, we'll talk about regulation again. How do you regulate them? You got the blockchain that's going to regulate it, but I mean, how many times have you seen scandals when these things were done? So, hey, maybe I'm just too old for it, but I sure wouldn't touch that stuff. But I'm not telling you, if you like that, maybe you understand it much better than I do.
Understood.
I think that's really basically, I kind of feel like Carl just kind of copped out of that one. He basically said he doesn't understand Bitcoin. But I think it's very interesting that, a lot of these, very successful multi-billionaire investors just simply don't understand it. I mean, at least Warren Buffett, I kind of feel like he's spending more time investigating Bitcoin and really coming to this determination that that he thinks it's going to come to a bad ending, and really spends time on explaining the process. Again, I am neutral on Bitcoin. I am really very determined to understand the value of Bitcoin. I do hold a little bit of GBTC, even sold some of that actually last week, but at the most I ever held was about 2% of GBTC. Another company I do videos on follow as well is ARK Invest, and they have about a 3.5% exposure to GBTC, which is Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I want to share with you some of the details on Carl Icahn and what happened. So I discovered Carl back in, like I said, at the time of this recording here, it is Tuesday, January 26th. Okay, and back again is in quarter three 2012. Carl's company, Icahn, Capital and Icahn Enterprises, took a pretty big position in Netflix. Ultimately, they sold in. They started selling some of their positions in 2013, like literally a year later, because Netflix shares has just really started jamming in 2013, even in 2012, right, late 2012. But he sold on June 24th, 2015. A huge portion of their Netflix, profiting about 800 million, right, of profits. And again, I don't know what the exact number of shares that they sold at that time was, but obviously it was in the billions for them to kind of net that 800 million return. But to take a look at it, basically there's some, let me go into my screen here. So I have a little bit of background on, this deal with respect to Icahn. So what's funny is they really had discovered it through Carl's son Brett, right? So Brett is now in his 40s, and he was, was managing a fund, part of Carl Icahn's investment company, and they had discovered Netflix. So basically, what Carl had said is, he had been through 7 bear markets, and being through 7 bear markets, he got to a point there in June of 2015 that he really had to take a lot of his chips off the table, because he just had learned that that's just what that's the best move. That's what you do. To take a look at it, in 2015, June of 2015, the actual share price of Netflix was around 93.87, so around $90 to $100, and again, that's kind of basically according to what the price is now. Right now, the price as of today at market close, it's 562. Okay, so it's kind of gone up more than 5-fold, almost 6-fold, since even that time of June 24th of 2015. But basically, what he did was a very interesting deal with his son, because his son is quoted as saying, I got the quote right here, he was super bullish on Netflix at the time, which he should have been. If you take, I actually have a little bit more analysis of my own in terms of when I was doing my analysis in 2012 about Netflix. But basically, Brett is saying, we believe the company remains significantly undervalued. As a subscription service priced at $7.99 per month, we believe Netflix is one of the great the great consumer bargains of our time, Brett Icahn said in a letter disclosed Tuesday. And again, that's in 2013 that Brett said that, right? That was 2013 that was said. So basically, if you come over here, so what he did was Carl put together a little bit of a complicated deal, which was, let me go ahead and read it to you. It was he was assigning more value to the portfolio that his son Brett managed on a notional basis. So it's a little bit complicated, but both Brett Icahn and Schechter, Brett Icahn's partner, are to receive one-time payment in the end of September 2016, equal to 7.5% of the profit of their Saragana portfolio, generated over an annual return of 4%. So basically, that particular year, Brett Icahn was paid $256 million, and that was a payday of 2016, because of the profit from Netflix that they realized in 2015. And just to give you a little bit of a comparison, Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, made $27 million that year. So he made, his son here, Brett, who was in his 30s at the time, made 10 times what Jamie Dimon made in a year, because of his position in Netflix. I'm trying to get you the quote here. Anyway, so let's go into, so I pulled out my analysis here of Netflix from 2012 when I did it. So if you take a look at it now, Netflix it's kind of interesting. They do about just as much sales as Tesla does. Now Tesla is going to be reporting at the close, the market close tomorrow, but right now they're doing about they were projecting to do about 25 billion in sales in 2021. Netflix is, and at the time that I went into Netflix and exposed 20 to 25% of my portfolio to Netflix, they were doing about revenues of 3.2 billion, right? And again, that's most recently reported full year financials at the time of Q3 2012, which was full year 2011, right? And at that time I went in, it was a market cap of 3.2 billion. So if you actually look at it, and then if you look at their gross margins, 36.38%. So 37%, I mean, that's pretty decent gross margins for a tech company, and their gross profit of 1.164 billion. So at the time that I was looking at that, it was like, oh wow, this is pretty attractive. Like their market cap is less than 3 times what their gross profit is. So I went all in. But you can really take those lessons and apply that to now. I mean, here we are in 2021. Stocks are very, very, very high growth. Technology stocks are very high. So you're probably not going to find very many that have a market cap equal to their revenues. But the point is at that time, I mean, Netflix was 3 billion. So, some of these investments I really like for example, Roku, they're just starting to hit about $1 billion in revenue. And it's a great opportunity to, in my opinion at least, to be able to invest in that company and ride that wave as they kind of grow their company. They scale their company into the billions and billions and billions, right? So there you go, everybody. That is a little bit of a piece. I'm going to do more content on this Netflix deal with Carl Icahn. It sounds like he really copped out of his explanation on Bitcoin, but as you can see, he's certainly not going to be getting into Bitcoin anytime soon. If you have any comments about the Netflix or Bitcoin or some other financial experts are saying about Bitcoin, let me know. Put them in the comments below, or let me know any questions. Okay, thanks and have a great week.